And here we go. Can't believe the 1 p.m. crept on me so quickly. Let me just tweet out the link one more time, and then we'll get this show on the road. Just give me 1 second. Yes, I want to continue to YouTube. Come on, StreamYard. All right, here we go. All right. Joe Dog, what's going on, brother? I probably should have got some water for this 1 hour, but it is what it is. We'll see if I can make it through. Otherwise, I'm going to have to make a quick pit stop in the middle of the stream. Yeah, I hope you guys were able to tune in to the odd stream last night. I was on with my guy Cody Saftik, Just Bleed MMA, and MMA prediction guru. Man, that was a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to continue to do that every Friday. A lot of people enjoyed it. I'm a little bit skeptical in terms of the way that they're kind of releasing it now. Like you're only able to get the main podcast by going strictly to the odds website. They have it as an unlisted YouTube video, so you're not able to actually find it on YouTube. If you go to YouTube itself, you have to go to odds.com and then go to the article page for the stream. I get why they're doing it. It kind of makes sense from a business standpoint, but in terms of like getting it to the masses and getting it as popular as possible, it's a little bit tough because people aren't aware that they have to go to the odds page. The one that is widely available is the prelims that we did, so that's something that everybody will be able to check out. And then in the top posted comment under that video is the actual link to the full podcast, so make sure you guys check that out if you haven't already. Yes, I'm loving it. I'm loving the team over there at odds. They're really good. They're solid people. Again, I already have chemistry and a solid relationship with Cody Saftik. If you guys did watch it, he did allude to the fact that he's known me for like a long time, and he initially knew me as the franchise or franchise. So I'll give you guys a quick backstory about that. Then we'll get into the card here. When I was working on the regional scene, I was working for the Score Fighting Series. Shout out to Brendan Fife, who was the head of that. But I was helping them out. The first event that I did for Score Fighting Series, I was a part of the cage crew. So me, my brother, and a couple of friends were just like in between rounds, or in between fights, sorry, we're going into the cage and just wiping off all the blood and all the sweat and making sure the cage was good to go for the next fight. And then after that, my role started to expand. Just dealing with tickets, dealing with posters, dealing with sponsorships, doing all that type of stuff. It was a lot of fun. So I believe it was Brandon Fife, Robin Black, and Ardo Ocal that ended up calling me the franchise because I was able to go out there and do everything. So when Cody actually met me for the first time, he heard everybody call me franchise. So that's pretty much what it is. And I think I kind of dropped the ball with not calling it franchise picks and started going with MMA lock of the night. But I was so far removed from that amount of time. Like we're talking about 2012, 2011, where me and Cody met. So when I really started to get back onto this journey of wanting to like handicap and talk about MMA, MMA lock of the night was like the first thing that came to my mind. So I not one of the first things, but it was something that I thought a lot of people could get behind. And it's easy. MMA LOTN, it rolls off the tongue so easily. So I think a lot of people enjoy that. But yeah, that's the story behind the whole franchise thing. Let's see what we got in the comment section. So let's get this show on the road. Let's see. You guys are killing it. Thiago Moises by sub plus 600. Absolutely. I'm picking Bobby Green to win. I think he wins by decision. But if you are backing Thiago Moises at all, this is the best value you're going to get. There's no point in playing him straight. He's not going to win a decision. He lacks the output. And I think if he does get comfortable on the ground, he should be able to pull off a submission. But one thing to note, the last time that Bobby Green did get submitted was 2009 to David Mitchell, and I believe it was via heel hook. So that's something to keep in mind here. But yeah, I like Bobby Green. I think he gets it done for sure. Strickland is my lock. He's my lock of the night play. I don't know what I could say. I got him at minus 245 last week, which is why everybody, hopping on the Patreon, got access to that as soon as I dropped that play. That's the benefit of hopping on the Patreon. So if you guys haven't already, it's in the link below. But yeah, I like to get ahead of the schedule. You know what I mean? Like I'm almost already done all the breakdowns for next week. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of lines that I can beat, because the odds really start to shift after the previous event finishes. Then everybody starts to shift their focus to next week, and then you see all that money come in and the lines just get completely ridiculous. What do we got here? Joe Dog Louis, when was the last time Bubba's shoulder roll green being submitted? Last time he got submitted, 2009. A lot of heavy favorites here playing devil advocate. If there's one sizable favorite that loses, who is it and how? I'm not gonna lie, I did say that Dustin Jacoby and Greg Hardy are my least confident chalks here, but I would kind of couple in Bobby Green there as well too. Like technically, there is that one mistake in my opinion that he makes whenever he's trying to. When I'm talking about Bobby Green, there's one mistake that he kind of makes where he's always turning his back to his opponents to try to get out of these clinch positions, and I just feel like for some reason I just think that Thiago Moises would hop on the back and start to like control and possibly pull off a submission there. But there's a lot of question marks on Dustin Jacoby still, in my opinion. Justin Ledet is not the greatest either. But there are a lot of questions there. And Greg Hardy thing, my main concern there is the potential volume that Maurice Green throws out there. And if he's able to accumulate more strikes than Greg Hardy, you know what I mean? Maurice Green, as bad as he is, he does a little bit of work from the outside with his kicks, with his volume. So that might, fluster Greg Hardy or something like that. But I still think Greg Hardy gets it done. I actually think that Greg Hardy gets it done inside the distance as well, too. Yes, Ryan, televised. You're absolutely correct. All the dogs look like bumps today. The only one is Andre Feely that I think is going to pull it off today. A lot of people have confidence in Kevin Natividad as well. Personally, I don't see it. But yeah, I think Andre Feely is the best dog tonight. He probably won't even be a dog by the time the fight fucking starts. Green going to lose by sub. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. Yeah. Danny Legs, shout out Danny Legs. Appreciate you hopping on the stream, brother. He's right. Hardy staying at range for extended period of time, or if he's somehow taken down. I think it's the staying at range. If he stays at range, that's where he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Hardy by decision, Mitchell by sub. Again, I'm on the Feely train, so I don't think we see Mitchell pull off the sub here. Hardy by decision is not a bad spot, but again, I think that he's going to get a little bit flustered here with the potential output of Maurice Green, so he might go out there and try to look for the finish too. So that's something to worry about. My man Joe Dog is on the nail here. Natividad and Feely are the only ones that really have a shot. And again, I have Johns, so I don't really have much confidence in Natividad either. Let's see what we got here. Yep, Danny Legs is correct. Bobby Green has not been submitted in over that amount of time, in over a decade. Hit me with that parlay, brother. I'll let you know what I think. My most recent post on Twitter. Joe Dog, just drop it in here, dude. I'm doing a live stream. I'm not going over to Twitter to check what it is, brother. Alexander Hernandez and Adrian Yanez. I don't mind that at all. I love those two spots. I already have Hernandez parlayed with Andre Feely to get better odds on Andre Feely, but I love Hernandez in the spot. Let's not forget that Chris Gritzmacher is coming off an ACL injury too, and I already don't think he's a great fighter to begin with. He's durable, he's gritty, hence his nickname. But I think Hernandez is just too young, too fast, too strong for him. He's going to be able to grapple fuck him. A lot of people are thinking that Hernandez will get the finish. I'm not so sure about that. I personally think that Hernandez is going to play as safe as possible. We might see a similar fight to what he had against Olivier Aubin-Mercier, where he just grinds him out. That's the kind of fight he really needs to win. So that's the kind of fight that I think he's going to go for. Not overextending himself, trying to get a finish or anything like that. Just playing it as safe as possible. That's how I think Alexander Hernandez gets it done. Adam Jacoby or Green. I prefer Green over Jacoby, to be honest. Shout out to Joe Dog for having Miles Johns as well too. Yeah, just put my man Joe Dog. Just put it all in one thing, and I'll break it down for you and put it on the screen for you guys too. But in terms of my bets specifically, we'll go over that for you guys real quick. So my lock of the night play, Sean Strickland, 5 units, minus 245. I got it last week. I even have a timestamp for you guys on that tweet as well. I played it on October 23rd, which is, just over 7, 8 days ago. And even today, I might play my lock and I play either today or tomorrow for next weekend. But there's a couple things I just want to flesh out still. Dog of the night play is Strickland and Marshman to go under 2.5 rounds. Personally, it was initially going to be, initially it was supposed to be uh, the under 2.5 for Priscilla Cachoeira and Courtney Casey. Obviously, that fight gets pulled out yesterday, so that throws a wrench in my plans a little bit. And the only other two dog spots or plus money spots that I was looking at for this card was this one, obviously Strickland and Marshman under 2.5. That covers a Marshman flash KO or something like that. And that also covers Strickland if he wants to take this fight to the ground and pull off his submission game, which I think he is more than capable of doing here. And the other one is the over 4.5 on the main event. However, I'm just not a big fan of playing overs. I just don't like overs. I don't know why the frig I hate overs. I don't bother with that. I like but plus 120 for over 4.5 in a fight where I think it's going to be a stalemate for the majority of it, with both of these guys kind of just pulling off flashy shit but missing by like a mile, and then just staring at each other for that amount of time for 22.5 minutes. Yeah, I don't mind that, but I hate stressing and over, but I think that's a solid spot for a dog spot. But yeah, this card is really, really rough when it comes down to finding plus money on it to bet. Michaela Mayer, not really into the boxing scene, my brother. I apologize. So good luck to you if you actually hit that. Shout out Just Bleed MMA. Make sure you guys go subscribe and follow him as well too. He is the host of the odds stream that I'm going to be on every Friday night as well too. Let it fly, brother. Let it fly. Which fights will go plus 1.5 rounds? You know what? Solid question. Let's see what I can dig up for you here. I believe Johns and Natividad will go over 1.5 rounds. I believe Williams and Witt will go over 1.5 rounds. I believe Hernandez and Gritzmacher will go over 1.5 rounds. Green and Moises will go over 1.5. Hardy and Green, I don't mind that. What are the odds for that though? Minus 120 is not too shabby though. For the over 1.5, I think that's absolutely possible. Andre Feely and Bryce Mitchell over 1.5, I think is pretty certain. And then over 1.5 for Silva and Hall, I think is possible too. All right, let's go through this parlay that my guy has. Strickland by finish, I'm in. Witt by finish, by decision. I'm not so sure about that yet. You know what I mean? Cole Williams obviously didn't look great at the weigh-ins. Let's see how his cardio holds up. But initially, I didn't mind Witt by decision, so I'm not going to bang on that too hard. Hardy by finish, I do agree with that. Hernandez money line, okay, solid. Green by money line, solid. Jacoby by money line, solid. Yanez by money line, solid. Holland money line, solid. Paying plus 6,050 for it. I don't mind it, dude. The only one that I'm a little bit skeptical of that is Witt by decision. Everything else looks very, very solid to me, brother. So good luck on that. Which under 1.5 or 2.5 fights do you like? My dog of the night play is the under 2.5 for Sean Strickland and Jack Marshman. So I believe that's still at plus money, plus 115, plus 120. Take a look at that. And Hall money line, I'd be sweating that one, man. Hall could definitely shit the bed here for you, but yeah, I like every other play on that. We putting nails on the chalkboard, boys, for sure, man. It's a chalk heavy card tonight. A very, very chalk heavy card. Cole Williams by KO is a solid hedge if you're on the Jason Witt side. Let me see what the odds are on that though. So he is a plus 140 underdog straight up, and Williams by KO is plus 400, pretty much plus 400. Not a bad spot if you're actually backing Cole Williams here. Witt's last 3 wins by decision. I do agree. I understand that fact, but the issue here also is the possible lack of durability from Cole Williams, given his weight miss, given just his kind of horrible fight style. Period. So that's something to worry about there. Daddy Legs, what you got for me? I'm on the under 2.5 for Witt Williams. Plus 150 is a solid spot for there, so I like it too. Yeah, Claudio Silva finishing him in round 1 though is kind of expected though. We know how good he is with his jiu-jitsu. Williams is just not that level, so that absolutely makes sense as to why Silva was able to get that finish. I'm not sure if Witt has that type of finishing ability, but I do think if anything, it would come down to Williams possibly, having a bad gas tank. But yeah, I don't mind the under 2.5 there. I am going to take Witt by second round ground pound finish. But Williams definitely has an opportunity to go out there and finish him too, because we have seen Witt, um, succumb to chin issues and been knocked out in the past. Not to mention he just got KO'd recently by Takashi Sato back in June, so that's something to worry about. Valid. I absolutely agree, brother. I hate the overs as well too. I think there's only been a couple times in my life where I've bet the over, and I think I've done pretty well. But 4.5, I'm not betting 4.5. Fuck that shit. He's coming in hydrated, heavier, more able to take punishment and be durable for Collins. You're right. Cole Williams definitely could be more durable, but it could also screw him up with his gas tank too. What if he was like really struggling to get down to 175? He didn't look great on the scales, that's for sure. That to be honest, this Cole Williams and Jason Witt fight for me personally is just a full out pass. This is a toke break. You know what I mean? You go out there, roll yourself a jersey, something like that, go burn a little bit, and then come back and get back into it for Sean Strickland and Jason Witt. Or sorry, Sean Strickland and Jack Marshman. Don't bother with this Williams and Witt fight, guys. Let's not be that degenerate. Come on. If anything, play the under 2.5. Sit back. At least you're getting plus money on that, so you can't be too mad if you whiff on it. But don't go putting your life savings on it. Come on, guys. Come on. What else you guys got here? Stress that no one gets a KO or something. Not my game. Yeah, that's the thing. It's weird how I feel the opposite though with like unders. Like I'm way more down to playing under. Obviously, 2.5 is the preferred way, but I have played a couple under 1.5s, and I feel way more comfortable playing those than I do playing over 1.5. I don't know what the hell it is. Strickland by KO plus 310, not bad. But I think his best path to victory in terms of getting this fight done is via submission. So that's something to look at. Strickland by submission is plus 335. So if you put a little bit on both submission and TKO, you're bound to hit one of them. I think he'll definitely get the finish here. So that's something to go. For sure. You gotta enjoy it somehow, right? You gotta enjoy it somehow. That's the toke break fight. I know my guy Clint from Die Hard MMA has the fireball and popcorn fight. Maybe I should run with the toke break fight or something. I don't know. Some marketing or gimmicking tool right there, right? If MMA Lock of the Night for you guys is not already enough of a gimmick, I'll give you guys the toke break fight as well. Yeah, so I only got through half of the plays that I have for this week or for tonight. The other play I have is Alexander Hernandez and Andre Fili parlay together for plus 188. Personally, it was more so me just missing out on Andre Fili at that plus 150 line. By the time I got around to actually wanting to make the bet, he was already down to like plus 120, plus 125. So I wanted to spice it up a little bit, and Hernandez is definitely one of my more confident plays for the fights tonight. So I love that parlay. And then lastly, the first time I've ever made an official 3-leg parlay, but given the amount of chalk that we have over the next 2 weeks, I thought it was pertinent. So it's not 3 legs all on one night. So we got the first 2 legs, Adrian Yanez, I almost smacked myself in the face with the microphone there. But Adrian Yanez, I think he's going to absolutely go out there and style on Victor Rodriguez. So I got him. I got Kevin Holland, who's going to make Charlie Ontiveros look like a complete scrub. I know I flustered some people by calling him that, but y'all know what it is. Just listen to everybody else's breakdown. They're saying the same thing that I'm saying. So it would probably be like the upset of the year if we saw Kevin Holland go out there and lose to Charlie Ontiveros. I would go out there and call it a bigger upset than Shana Dobson going out there and finishing Maria Agapova. You know what I mean? Agapova just fought like a complete dumbass, thinking that she's going to get her out of there in the first round and then gasses herself out in that second. And we see Shana Dobson secure that under 1.5 still, which is hilarious. But yeah, I think Ontiveros beating Holland tonight would be probably the upset of the year. That's bar none, in my opinion. And then lastly, for that 3-leg parlay, I have Tanner Boza, which is next week. I've already done the tape on that. I like his line. Minus 250 is not too bad. But I thought, why not spice it up a little bit with 2, surefire bets for tonight in Adrian Yanez and Kevin Holland. So all in all, that's a 2-unit parlay at minus 110. I love that spot. Pretty much even money there. I love that spot. That breaks. Shout out my guy Young Bulla. dab breaks in between fights are essential for nerves. Y'all, you might be a little bit younger than me. You know what I mean? I just turned 29 a couple days ago, last week, I should say. And dabs are a little bit too much for you. That's kind of where I draw the line. You know what I mean? That's a little bit too much. Even bongs, a little bit too much for me at this point in time. Just give me a J and I'm good. I'm on my merry way. Uh, Yana Strickland Holland parlay. Absolutely fire away, my friend. I got Sean Strickland as my lock when I play, and I obviously love Giannis and Holland as well. And I'll give you guys Ben Eggs. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? I love the Louis C.K. Avatar, by the way. I did make a degenerate parlay on Bookmaker earlier today. Let me just give you guys what that is, and I just threw in some blind boxing uh legs for you guys too. It was more so just a shits and giggles type of parlay. I have a couple people on my Patreon that are far in the boxing thing too, so it's kind of a little bit of a tail on them as well. But let's see, we got so it's a 9-leg parlay. I got Greg Hardy, Kevin Holland, Adrian Yanez, Sean Strickland, Alexander Hernandez, Alexander Usyk, Javante Davis, Nayo Inoue, and Regis Prograis. I'm going to be completely honest. The only guys I know of in the boxing legs there are Alexander Usyk, who I know is legit, Javante Davis, but I've heard some good things about this Leo Santa Cruz guy. I'm still going with Javante Davis. I've heard of Inoue. I heard that guy's a killer for sure. So I'm really looking forward to that. And then I've just heard a couple of things about Regis Prograis. So I'm being a square, absolute square here by going out there and doing that 9-leg parlay. But hopefully it pays off. Hopefully it catches tonight because I'll make a great night. The worst thing that could happen tonight, though, for on my side of things, would be if Sean Strickland goes out there and shits the bed. That would be the shittiest part for me. What else you guys got here? What else you guys got? Come on, let's keep this party rolling. Where are we at? Yeah, it's really tough. Oh, okay, you guys got some love here. Javante Hedge on that fight if you get to that leg. Okay, okay. I've heard good things about Santa Cruz for sure. Javante KO. All right, that's a big call there. Inoue number 1 pound for pound. He's great. Yeah, I've seen a couple highlights of Inoue for sure. That's why I decided to throw him in there. But yeah, I'll definitely tune into that. And it's kind of good that these UFC fights are a little bit earlier today as well. Let's not forget, 4 p.m. Eastern prelims for the early prelims. It's an early start. Personally, on the Eastern Standard Time, I'm more than happy about that. I mean, there's not a lot of times where we're really blessed with having these early fucking fights. We got, normally we're talking about 7:30 prelims starting, and the card doesn't finish till like midnight, 1 a.m. So being on the Eastern Standard Time, I know a lot of people are happy about their early start. Maybe not the Pacific guys should be happy too. A 1 p.m. start, not too shabby. Strictly inside the distance, I do like that. I do like that. I think he gets it done, especially with Marshman missing weight, not looking good on the scales either. He knows he's on his way out of the UFC. That's definitely a solid spot. How do you see things playing out in the lightweight division? Solid question, my man. Yeah, it was kind of infuriating with the whole lightweight division playing out the last little while because it feels like it's been locked up. Like it's easily the deepest division. It's easily the most talented division. Yet we just see the belt tied up for however long. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately for Khabib, he hasn't been able to defend as much as he wanted. That's the shitty part. And then we had the whole Connor thing, and then we had the whole champ thing. Like that really pissed me off because there's so many talented guys at this 155-pound division that deserve that title shot, that deserve the title, yet they just have to sit back and wait. I mean, we got guys like Charles Oliveira who continues to go out there and just fight scrubs, which is unfortunate. I heard he was supposed to go out there and fight Beneil Dariush. I hope they're still able to put that fight together because I think that's a very, very good fight for Charles as well, too, in terms of him finally like taking proper steps up and fighting like legitimate guys. The Kevin Lee win was a good win, but Kevin Lee's a quitter at this point in time. I want to see Kevin Lee go out there and work on his game a little bit more. Maybe not focus so much on that weird ass tattoo he's getting on the back of his head, but he could definitely make some noise at 155 pounds. What other spots? Michael, so the way that I want to see it play out, as much as I hate to say it, you got to do Conor Poirier for the title, since that's pretty much already booked. Let's do that for the title. Let's do Michael Chandler against Tony Ferguson, so we get to see how real Chandler really is. Throw him in there with the Wolves right away, see if he belongs. And then with Justin Gaethje, I'm not 100% sure what we do with him. Him against Oliveira isn't too bad, but again, I'm already hearing that Charles Oliveira is supposed to fight Beneil Dariush. So let's take a quick look at the lightweight division. I just want to see who we can match Justin Gaethje up with. Dan Hooker, but he's coming off a loss. I guess Gaethje's coming off a loss too. Gaethje Felder's a solid spot too. So there are some spots. You know what? Gaethje Makhachev is not a bad idea either. I wouldn't mind Makhachev versus Chandler, but then again, we don't want to do Gaethje Ferguson too. What else you guys got here? I don't mind his 2 years off, I mean, against a guy like Jack Marshman. If he's going out there and fighting, a higher level opponent, if he's going out there and fighting a guy like Tom Breeze or something like that, then I'd be a little bit more skeptical. But in my opinion, like this is a huge fade on Jack Marshman, as I don't believe his UFC caliber at this point in time. And even Strickland coming off 2 years off, that's still I'm still not too worried there. And let's not forget also, Jack Marshman himself is coming off of a 15-month layoff too, so he hasn't been in the cage either. So that's something to keep in mind. Some more boxing talk. I think anyway could get taken to the cards to value would be on the distance. Shout out. My favorite current UFC fighter, man. That's a tough question. Ooh, it's been a long time since I've really like called a favorite. I love Wiley Zhang. She always brings the fire when she's in the cage. I love watching her fight. Um, I like Cyril Gane is entertaining. I love Magomed Ankalaev. That guy's on the rise for sure. Yuri Prohazka, he burst out of the scene with the beautiful finish of Volkan Ozdemir. I'm really looking forward to seeing how his career progresses as well too. But Ankalaev, if he didn't tap to Paul Craig at that last second in that fight, he would arguably be up there right now, fighting for a title, number one contender shot, one of those spots for sure. I love me some Magomed Ankalaev. I like me some Alexander Volkanovski too. He's not a bad fighter either. Brandon Royval, Raw Dog. He's been having a solid UFC run so far. Him against Brandon Moreno is a great fight. So I'm really looking forward to that too. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting guys in the UFC divisions. I love me some Merab Dvalishvili too. It'll be nice to see Zabit fight more often or not. No? What else you guys got? I hate that Tony getting skipped up. Everyone in the top five has gotten a title shot besides Tony and Dan. You're right. He has obviously gotten his interim title shots. That's one thing. But to not get an undisputed title shot is absolute bullshit for Tony. Like, I'm trying to think of a way that we could do like maybe Tony Poirier for the title, because I don't think people would totally mind that. But it already seems like Conor McGregor wants to come back, and that's the fight that he wants. And it's easy to market that. You know what I mean? You got Conor McGregor coming off a win, albeit at 170, but casuals don't know that. Casuals don't know that Conor McGregor fought Cowboy at 170 pounds, so they don't give a shit. They're like, oh, Conor won his last fight. Let's throw him in there for a title shot. They don't give a shit what division it's at. So yeah, let's see what else we got. Izzy's a solid fighter too, man. He's a lot of fun, bringing some great moments to that middleweight division, especially after the whole Anderson Silva era. Bruh. Moizadia, what's going on, my brother? I'm pretty sure you're Punjabi. I don't think you are, but I know you're from like Norway for some shit. But I appreciate you hitting me up at all times. Stood up watching Valentina fights last night. Man, those combos are out of a video game. Yeah, for sure. I'd love to see her fight Nunes again too. The one fight that I'm actually interested in seeing is Shevchenko against Zhang. If we see both of them defend, well, Shevchenko's pretty much already cleared out a division. If you see Zhang go out there and beat a couple more opponents, I'd love to see Shevchenko against Zhang. That should be a great fight. Louis D. Brandon Royval, absolutely a very entertaining fighter, man. He is so fun to watch. Um, you know, I like to call him mini Tony Ferguson. A lot of people are calling him mini Nate Diaz. I prefer the mini Tony Ferguson because of his spinning shit. His jiu-jitsu is great. Offensive jiu-jitsu is great. Obviously his stand-up could use a little bit of work, but he's not scared to go out there and throw spinning shit and fancy and creative stuff. So I love his style. Ever moving forward. Great cardio as well too. I think he could be a force in that flyweight division. So don't sleep on my boy, Raw Dog Brandon Royval. Thoughts on Sugar Sean O'Malley? It's crazy, like how one fight could just absolutely destroy a guy's reputation. You know what I mean? Going into that Chito Vera fight, everybody's like, "Yo, Sugar Sean, he's gonna roll here. He has a guy making songs for him and shit." I'm not sure if you guys heard that. It's not a bad song. I just wish it wasn't about Sugar Sean, to be honest. But um, yeah, it's crazy. He career suicide with how he continues to talk about that Chito Vera fight. Just take the L, man. Take the L, move on, and remind us why we were so high on you before that Chito Vera fight. Whitaker, the real deal, or has he been given cans? He's the real deal. What do you mean he's been given cans? Darren Till was a solid win. You know, Darren Till, we know he has knockout power. He was able to go in there and survive 5 rounds with Darren Till. He was able to go in there and survive 15 minutes against Jared Cannonier, who a lot of people were saying that has, serious knockout power of his own. And he was able to eat shots. Cannonier wasn't able to totally get his game going, but that's Robert Whitaker's game. He's able to go in there and stifle dudes. I love Whitaker. And I think, with the right mindset, he can go in there and give Israel Adesanya a much tougher fight than he did the first time around. So I wouldn't mind a Whitaker and Izzy rematch. There isn't much else at middleweight for Izzy right now. That's why he's campaigning to go up to 205 to fight Jan Blachowicz. But personally, I'd like to see Jan go out there, defend it a couple of times so that there's a little bit more mustard. There's a little bit more juice behind selling that super fight. Till yikes, Cannonier broke. I don't know, man. I'm not 100% sure there. We'll have to see how Till really settles into that middleweight division. You know what I mean? I think the Jack Hermanson fight for Darren Till is great in terms of being able to really get a barometer of where Till's at and whether he truly belongs at middleweight. I don't think we see him ever go back down to 170 pounds because I think that weight cut was just way too significant for him. So, yeah, that's just something to worry about. Yeah, I'd back off the can statement, my guy. Avio, what's going on, brother? Thoughts on inside the distance for Silva versus Hall? I think this is going to be a fight where both guys just show a little bit too much respect to each other. I think we'll see the flashes of brilliance from both guys where they throw some spinning shit or they throw some flashy shit, but I think it's going to miss by a mile. I think it's just going to come down to a super basic fight for both guys with flashes of brilliance, but I don't think either of them are going to land clean enough to be able to get a finish here. So I don't mind the over 4.5 at plus 120. I think that's a solid spot. But personally, I didn't pull the trigger myself. But if I were to pull the trigger on one more plus money fight or plus money bet tonight, it would be the over 4.5 for sure. The scenes of Vera chaos. Although, dude, I saw Bet DSI opened up the odds for this already, and I want to confirm. Yeah, Jose Aldo still minus 132. If you have Bet DSI, and that is a correct number, you bet the house on Jose Aldo there. There's no way Marlon Vera is winning this fight. I'm telling you guys right now. If I get Jose Aldo anything better than minus 250, minus 300, minus 300 even, I'd go up to minus 300 for Jose Aldo against Chito Vera. I've criminally underrated Chito Vera throughout his career, but this is not the fight for Chito. I'm telling you, he's gonna cringe at the level of difference here in terms of skill with Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo has shown he is still there. Yeah, he got wrecked by Piotr Jan, but that's freaking Piotr Jan. He had a very competitive fight against Marlon Moraes. In a fight, you could potentially even give him the fight. Chito Vera is not going to be able to handle the leg kicks. He's not going to be able to handle the pace and pressure of Jose Aldo. He's going to break. I love Jose Aldo. Bozer minus 260 next week. Not a bad spot. Personally, I parlayed him with Yanez and Holland tonight, so I got minus 110 on him. Minus 260 is not too bad. The only iffy thing here, though, is Andrei Arlovsky finds a way to make fights closer than they should be, like the Philippe Lins fight, like all the other fights that he's gone to a decision in. How many times in his last 10 fights he's gone to a decision? He got finished by Jairzinho Rozenstruik, Francis Ngannou, obviously, and then Stipe Miocic back, I believe, 192. But he's been durable, but I do think that Bozer will be the one, chopping at the leg. I think that's going to be a huge part of his game plan. And as long as he, continues with his output, continues with his movement, I think we'll see Bozer absolutely go out there and get the victory. Minus 260, that's probably the highest I'd go on Bozer, to be honest. You all stole the man soul, possibly, for sure. Those were wars. Casey lost that decision last week. That was a close fight. You're talking about the Nathaniel Wood and Casey Kenny fights. I'd have to watch it again. It was definitely close. I haven't gotten to watch a chance to watch it for a second time. I did lean Casey there. I thought he did enough in rounds 1 and 3 from what I remember. But yeah, I haven't watched it a second time. But I had money on Casey Kenny, so I can't complain. I'll take the money where I can get it. He gets gifted left hand till. I don't know. Whitaker 2-1 since then. That's right. Romero 0-2. Stop being casual. Let's try to keep it positive in here, guys. Let's try to keep it positive. That's all I'm gonna say. No, definitely not 30-27. Correct. Casey won at 29-28. Like I said, rounds 1 and 3, I thought he won. 30-27 is absolutely criminal, and that judge should be shot. What else? We're continuing with the Whitaker conversation. Souza, Brunson, Till, debatably Romero. He's so yeah. I like Whitaker. I think he's solid. They're definitely not cans. Kuma, let's see. Hey man, just want to say I love your channel. I've been following you since January this year. Great to see the growth. I appreciate it, Kuma. Greatly appreciate it. I'm glad I'm starting to do these live streams too, because I think people, it's one thing to, talk and interact on Twitter, but it's another thing to actually see your questions and be able to like verbally say it to you guys and talk to you guys and engage with you guys this way. So I'm really looking forward to continuing this fight day show. Originally I had scheduled to do it every Friday, so the day before the fights. At 5:30 p.m. But now with me joining the odds crew and us doing the streams at 9 p.m., I thought it was completely pointless for me to do 2 streams in one day. And plus, I got a life too. As much as I love MMA and as much as I love growing this MMA LOT and brand, I got a wife, I got a family, and all that shit. So I can't just keep sitting in front of the computer all day, every day. So, appreciate you following me, Kuma. Shout out to you. I'm taking all O'Malley's opponents KO TKO prop. I don't blame you. He's coming off like he's a quitter. I don't believe he's a quitter, but he's coming off like it. So let's put it that way. 5 timing. Do you think the Giannis fight doesn't go to decision a lock for today? I believe Giannis inside the distance is a solid lock. As a solid play too. Lock of the night play personally was Sean Strickland at -245, but obviously, as a straight up pick, that's pretty much unbettable now, unless you want to parlay. Personally, my favorite lock play in terms of parlays here would be Yanez, Holland, Hernandez, and Strickland. I love those spots. So much chalk on this card for sure. Absolutely, so much chalk. It's tough. Like this card is very, very tough. If we want to take a quick look at next week, though, we have some chalk on that card too, but definitely not as much as this weekend. Like I'm out there trying to make like my Hail Mary parlays and my lottery parlays, and I'm getting like dog shit returns because there's too much chalk. Like I'm not as super confident in much of the totals this weekend, because I like to mix it up with the totals every now and then, but there weren't a lot of spots that I really liked. But I love Sean Strickland in this spot. Again, Strickland, Yanez, Holland, and Hernandez are very, very solid spots. 5 diming, you played Yanez inside the distance, like Hernandez parlay. Solid fucking spots, brother. Romanov and Bozer parlay next week. That's the spot. That is the spot. So I've already parlayed Bozer with Holland and Yanez. Romanov is the spot that I'm looking at. I'm honestly, personally, like I'm down to play him straight all the way up to -300. Hajurio de Lima does not have anything for him. So I love Romanov in that spot. The one spot that I'm actually looking at is Romanov inside the distance. So I'm actually waiting for that spot to come out. I think Romanov inside the distance is going to be the lock of the night play next week. And even the under 1.5, I'd probably sprinkle a little bit there in case, De Lima lands some Hail Mary shot. But I highly doubt that happens. But I love Romanov next week. And speaking of whoever asked me that question about who my favorite fighter in the UFC is, King Kong Romanov is definitely on the top right now. Not number one, but he's inching closer to being my guy in the UFC. I love what I'm seeing from that guy, and I think he's going to continue his streak next weekend. To share it by execution next week, maybe not execution, but I think he is a solid dog spot next week. We're already up to +185. I'm waiting for that number to get even better because I'm going to unload on Glover to share next week for sure. What do you think of Anderson does if he KOs Uriah tonight? I think guys that are on the doorstep of the way out and who have talked about retirement, when they get that like highlight reel knockout, like kind of like Uriah Faber got over Ricky Simone or something like that, they just get this extra jolt. They're like, okay, maybe I can still do this. But when you go out there and knock out a guy like Uriah Hall is not, really at the top of the division right now. I'd like to see what kind of improvements and mental confidence that we see from Uriah Hall now that he's over at Fortis MMA. At least he has been for the last two fights now. But yeah, I could, as much as this hurts to say, I could see Anderson going to Bellator, especially if the UFC doesn't want him fighting anymore, because we've definitely seen that happen. But yeah, I think Anderson should absolutely hang it up tonight. Just fucking sit. I'm sure he has a bunch of other businesses he could still make money off of. Feely Mitchell to go to the decision. I like that spot too. Not a personal bet, but I do like that spot. Do you think we'll get events basically every weekend next year? I don't think so, brother. Personally, for my own sanity as well, I hope we don't. I hope they go back to like the 42 to 44 events a year. I think just this year, obviously with the whole COVID thing, they had to catch up to the schedule. That's why we've pretty much gotten an event every single weekend for the past like 2 or 3 months now. And going all the way up to December 19th, that's the last event of the year, if I'm not mistaken. But it would be nice to have a little bit of time off and not have to worry about tape starting and all that shit. I appreciate the content, Ed Reese. I appreciate the support. It means even more than how much you appreciate the content. Trust me. If it wasn't for your views, your likes, your subscribes, I'm not. There's no need for me to do this stuff because I'd be talking to fucking nobody. So I appreciate you guys watching on a weekly basis. You feeling clairvoyant on Yanez by finish? I think Yanez gets a finish. I think he's gonna make this guy look like an absolute scrub, just as Kevin Holland's gonna make Ontiveros look like a scrub tonight. This guy Anderson versus Weidman for the belt if he wins, dude. Anderson versus Weidman 3 at this point of their career, I would not mind that at all. Like if Anderson Silva if Silva goes out there, loses a close decision, or gets an actual victory, let's match them up. Let's match up Weidman and Silva. This is the time to get it. Or let's throw another wrench into it. Let's get Luke Rockhold back in, who's also on, coming on tough times. Let's do Anderson Silva versus Luke Rockhold. I wouldn't mind that either. Confirmed retirement. Oh, it's kind of confirmed, but he kind of left the door open. He did an interview with Ariel Helwani earlier this week where it kind of looked like he left the door open. So keep that in mind. Why doesn't anybody talk about another Silva Weidman fight since last one? You're right, dude. Again, given where both Weidman and Silva are at in their careers right now, I'm not mad at that fight at all. Again, let's throw Luke Rockhold in there too, because all those three guys, were the top of the middleweight division for a long time. It was like a certain era where it was like Silva, Weidman, Rockhold, and I wish we got to see a little bit more of Rockhold at the top because I truly think the guy is very, very skilled. But then his chin is just like, sayonara, I'm out, peace. What do we got here? Isn't Bobby Green by decision at -150 a little better than laying the chalk? He never finishes anybody. You are correct. I don't think that, I wish we saw a little bit more urgency from Bobby Green because I truly think that would help him ascend the ranks and get bigger and better fights. But he's just so cool with just going out there and cruising to a decision. The fact that he wasn't able to go out there and finish Alan Patrick in the third round, that had me a little bit skeptical. But I think Moises is durable for sure. So I don't think we see Bobby Green finish him. So Bobby Green via decision is definitely the play if you want to back Bobby Green here. Who do I see Romero fighting next? Let's see, because he has been scheduled against a couple guys, and then he's had to pull out. Let's see what we got. So he was scheduled to fight Uriah Hall in August. Romero pulled out due to injury. You know what? I wouldn't mind them booking that Uriah Hall fight again. If Uriah Hall comes out with a W tonight, I would love to see Uriah Hall against Yoel Romero, especially if we see a really good, rejuvenated, and a killer instinct from Uriah Hall. I would love to see that fight. I think that's a solid spot. Man, it's crazy how time flies when you're just reading comments and answering questions. I can't believe it's already been 45 minutes. We still got another 15 minutes here, so make sure you guys drop whatever questions, comments, or concerns you have in the chat. I'll be happy to address them for you guys. Data's not going to let him fight in the UFC. They have a deal, but he does have one more fight on contract. So one thing I want to clear up for you guys, for kind of the newer UFC viewers, these UFC contracts, they're strictly in place to cover the UFC's ass. It doesn't matter they have 15 fights. I remember one time Anderson Silva came out and he said he signed a 12 or 15 fight agreement. It's just so the UFC has leverage over him. It's pretty much. But with that said, fighters do have the ability to go in there and be like, okay, I want to renegotiate. Like the contracts, I never look at the amount of fights that are left, especially on these older guys, especially like with guys like Anderson Silva or Diego Sanchez or some of these guys that are way further into their careers. The number of fights doesn't really matter. If the UFC doesn't want them, they can terminate them after tonight. If the UFC really doesn't want Anderson Silva, they can cancel his contract after tonight. Um, yeah, for me, it more so matters to guys that are earlier in their careers that are still trying to build their stock, still trying to grow their worth. That's why I don't think those fighters should go out there and sign like three longer than 3 fight agreements. Go out there, do work for 3 fights, and then be like, okay, this is what I'm deserving of now. Let's renegotiate. And that's why also a lot of UFC fighters, the UFC will actually approach them right before their last fight to be like, all right, let's renegotiate now. Do you want to gamble on yourself? Do you want to go out there and risk losing? Because if you risk losing, we're going to pay you less after your contract is up. Or, you know, just bank on yourself. Go out there, risk on yourself. Go out there, make sure you get the victory, and then you have a little bit more leverage to get a better deal from the UFC. So it's such a shit show when it comes to contracts and UFC fighters like that. Uh, yeah, it's not one of my favorite parts of the MMA game because I truly, at the end of the day, I just want to see the best fight the best. That's all it is. And unfortunately, for a lot of fighters, the best fighting the best only occurs in the UFC. There are exceptions with Bellator, of course, where they have solid guys going out there and having good fights, but more often than not, they're probably going to lose to the top of the division. What do you think about Hernandez being at Factory X with Roy Val? Have they been on a roll? Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Hernandez was in the corner of Brandon Royval when he fought whoever the hell he fought last. I want to say Kai Car France. Yeah, Kai Car France. Cash on the underdog money too. Shout out to my guy Raw Dog. I love Factory X. Factory X, Fortis MMA. Those two right now are like one of my higher ranked cams for sure. I love those guys. Mark Montoya, as much shit as he got for not calling the fight with Anthony Smith and Glover Teixeira, I still think he's one of the top head coaches out there. They have great game planning. Training at Factory X means you're training in, I believe they're in Denver, if I'm not mistaken. Let me confirm that actually. They are in Denver, right? Factory X MMA. Yeah, Englewood, Colorado. So they're fighting at, or they're training at altitude, which is obviously very, very helpful too. Ed Reese, so he can go to Bellator when one on his contract. Yeah. See, that's the thing though. Like, there's legacy fighters for the UFC. You know what I mean, I thought Chuck Liddell was a legacy fighter for the UFC. I thought maybe not Tito Ortiz, just given their unfortunate relationship. But yeah, it would be so weird for everybody to see Anderson Silva in Bellator. But if he really wants to fight and the UFC doesn't want to have anything to do with that, then Bellator is definitely the next place for him. Um, it's really tough for me to see though. It's really, really tough for me to see. Any other spots on this card? I do want to give a quick thing though. Andre Filivier third round finish. So obviously you guys know me. I like betting that third round prop when fighters have cardio issues. We have seen Bryce Mitchell in the past when fights aren't absolutely going his way, like the Charles Rosa fight. When fights are a little bit more difficult for him, he does tend to show a little bit of gas tank issues in the third round. So Andre Fili in the third round is not a bad spot. Other possible third round spots are Alexander Hernandez. I think that's a solid spot for him. Sean Strickland around 3, though I think he can get it done even earlier too. I've seen people on Ledet in round 3. I'm not as big of a fan on that. I just don't believe too much in Justin Ledet's finishing abilities, so that's something to worry about. And then Kevin Natividad to win in round 3. I think that could be a solid spot too. What is that? Natividad round 3 plus 1375. Miles Johns has shown some cardio issues in the past, and I think Natividad has the type of finishing power that could take advantage of that. But I still got Miles Johns, but plus 1375 for a third round finish is not too bad. What do we got here? I think nobody is talking about Do Bronx and lightweight mix. I've seen steady improvement. I think he had a pretty big dark horse. Yeah, no, I agree. And I apologize for itching my nose all the time. I don't know why the hell it's all itchy. But yeah, Do Bronx has definitely been overlooked. But the only issue is he's going up against like sketchy competition. I think the biggest win, obviously, for him recently was Kevin Lee in a main event spot. So that was a big, big spot for him. But we need to continue to see him fight guys of the upper echelons, not going out there and beating Nick Lentz for a 17th time. You know what I mean? So if he's able to go out there and beat Benil Dariush, which I think is a great fight for him, people will start to take him more seriously. So um, personally, I think the best fight they can make is Charles Oliveira against Islam Makhachev. That would be a great fight. But then you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot by getting rid of two prospects that are like just, knocking on that top five door of the lightweight division. But I love Do Bronx. I love the evolution that we've seen of him since like way back in the day. I believe it was UFC 124 where Jim Miller ended up heel hooking him or something. But since then, he's taken his lumps, he's taken his bruises, and his confidence is skyrocketing now. You know what I mean? Being on the win streak that he is, being on the finishing streak that he is too. Talk about guys that I love betting, the unders in their fights. Charles Oliveira is a fighter that I love betting. The fight doesn't go to decision or the unders because more often than not, that guy goes out there and hits it. Unless, of course, you're like Gadzhimurad Antagulov like 2 weeks ago, where he's like, "Fuck it, I'm going to try to, you know, push my cardio to the third round," and does absolutely nothing in round one. Turns it on in round two, and then we get to finish at the end of round two. So that one, I'm still bitter about that one. I'm truly bitter about losing on the Antagulov under 1.5 the other week. I thought I was getting great odds at minus 122 as well. That one fucking sucked. Chris Haynes has a solid point here. Charles Oliveira is no longer a prospect. You are correct, dude. The guy has a ton of UFC fights. Let's just count how many fights this guy actually has in the UFC because he's been around for a long time. UFC 124 was way back in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. UFC 124, 2010, December 2010. But he made his UFC debut in August 2010. We're over the 10-year anniversary of Charles Oliveira coming into the UFC. So he did have, a tumble out the gate, but now he's put together 7 straight victories, and most recently over Kevin Lee. So he looks great. He looks absolutely great. I won second round prop bet Christian beating Cantulo by TKO in second. That was a solid spot. That was definitely a solid spot. Chris Haynes would love for Charles Oliveira to get a crack at the elite of the division. I agree, my man. I absolutely agree. I think Benil Dariush is a solid step up for him, for sure. I do love me some Do Bronx, for sure. Yeah, look at his run right now. Clay Guida, Christos Giagos, Jim Miller. That's revenge for when he lost to him way back in the day. David Tamor in a fight where I believe Charles Oliveira was a slight dog. A lot of people are high on David Tamor in that spot. Nick Lentz again, which absolutely made no sense. Jared Gordon, which is a solid win. Kevin Lee, which is a solid win. Not to mention that it was a headliner for him too. So he goes out there and gets a solid victory there. I believe my lock of the night play for that card specifically was the under 2.5 for Kevin Lee and Charles Oliveira, and luckily it hits 30 seconds into that third round. Yeah, I love Do Bronx. He does not get enough shine. Hopefully, he gets more shine once he beats Benil Dariush. If that's the fight that they truly end up booking and going with, that's definitely the fucking spot. We got 7 minutes left. Hit me with whatever you guys got left. I'll give you guys a quick. You know what? Just because you guys are viewing this live, I'll give you guys a quick look at what I'm leaning on for next week. Glover Teixeira plus 200. That will be a dog in the night play once it hits that line. I'm truly in belief that will be the line that we get, and probably even better. But personally, plus 200 is where I think the line should start to bounce back. So that's where I'm going to pull the trigger on him. I love Yan Jiaonan at minus 135. I think that's a solid spot. Tanner Bozer, I've already got him parlayed. Alexander Romanov, I'm waiting for him inside the distance because that's the line I will more than likely bomb on. I love Brendan Allen at minus 135 too. I just finished the breakdown for Felipe Colarge and Gustavo Lopez. I like Lopez there, maybe not as much for a bet. Never been the highest on Bevan Lewis, but not been the highest on Trevin Jaws either. So that fight's probably going to be a pass for me. I need to look into Ramiz Brahimaj to really see if he's worth an underdog shot against Max Griffin. And I got to dust up on an Eduardo Garagori, plus 175. Why Darren Elkins is better than minus 200 against anybody is beyond me. But I guess Garagori is just not that good. So I'm looking forward to digging into the tape for that one too. Joe Dog, what do you got to say about Benil Dariush? Benil is the dark horse of the division. Every fight he lost, he was winning before some crazy shit happened. Should he undefeated? He was on his 6 fight winning streak. Now first round highlight TKO versus Holtzman. I like Benny. I think he's definitely talented. So him against Do Bronx should definitely tell us a lot about both guys. Chris Haynes, Ward Glover. Yes, I can't believe we're in 2020 and we might actually get Glover as champ in possibly 2021 because, in my opinion, this fight against Santos is a number one contender fight. So whoever comes out on the winning end should fight Jan Blachowicz next. Benil becoming champ soon. I don't know, man. 155 is stacked. He definitely has the talent to do so for sure. What do we got here? Strickland sub. Yeah, not bad. I like that spot too. Benil, but I think his chin will prevent him from being champ. Possible. Z, what's going on? Shout out to my man Z's MMA. Make sure you guys go follow him and subscribe to his YouTube channel. He does a great podcast every Friday called Fair Play, where he brings on 3 different cappers to go over the fight. So make sure you guys check him out. I was on it about 2 weeks ago. Great experience. Love talking to the guy. He can't stop the takedowns. Which fight are you talking about, Z? Let me know who you're talking about there. But yeah, I'm excited for the fights tonight. As much chalk as there is tonight, there are still some spots that I'm looking forward to cash on. Yanes inside the distance, absolutely. Victor Rodriguez is about to get smoked tonight. And Z, hit me back with who you're saying who can't stop the takedown. Standard bloke, unfortunately, I can't help you out with can't help you out too much with DraftKings. Prelim dog. Okay, let me tell you what I think the best prelim dog would be. Probably Cole Williams, as much as that fucking hurts to say, or even Kevin Natividad. Actually, you know what? I'd say Natividad and then Cole Williams in terms of the best underdog on the prelim. The dude fighting Elkins. That's why Elkins is favorite. Okay, I'll look into it. But yeah, I don't remember much about Gary Gorey. I remember he fought Ricardo Ramos. That's the only thing I really remember about him. But I don't remember the fight specifically. These Alaska boys can't catch a break. It's tough for them. And it's almost like Canadian MMA too, right? Like we've not seen a lot of guys. We've really not seen a lot of guys have success coming from the TKO region. You know, that's something that we need to worry about. But then Alaska is up there too. I'd say the TKO guys will probably be able to beat these Alaska FC boys. But this is a very tough, short notice fight for Victor Rodriguez against a very hungry Adrian Yanez. And I like the fact that Yanez already has experience inside that UFC Apex. So I don't think that the whole UFC show thing is going to be too much pressure on him. If anything, you can make the argument that there's more pressure in the Contender Series fights because you're trying to secure yourself a contract to fight on the biggest show. So you want to go out there and perform to the best of your ability. So you put that extra pressure on yourself. Now he's already in. He's already in the UFC. Now he can go out there and show his hand speed against a guy like Victor Rodriguez, who's, in my opinion, it's going to look like he's fighting in slow motion against Adrian Yanez. So I love Yanez inside the distance. That is for sure. Natividad, yes, Z is right. Natividad is probably the best dog on the undercard. Chris Haynes thinks Natividad's getting a little bit too much. You know what, Chris? You do bring up a good point here, and I think that's due to the fact that there's not that many other underdogs on this card. Obviously, there's Feely, which seems like everybody and their mother is on, and people are really seeking another dog here. And I'm not trying to take away from Kevin Natividad. I'm sure the people that have money on him and have bet him see good enough skills from him to warrant that underdog shot. But yeah, the lack of underdogs here may be exaggerating how good of a chance Kevin Natividad actually has of getting a victory here. Z is absolutely correct. At least we have Hakeem Mean, or I should say Mean Hakeem Dawadu. Ryan is saying that Natividad is not aggressive and uses his wrestling a decent amount, playing right into Johns' game. I think Johns will be the stronger one and will be able to get the better of those clinch exchanges. TJ Laramie too got thrown one of Krauska's. They give them some dogs. Yeah, Laramie, that was a tough one to swallow, man. Laramie is one of my boys. Had him in the studio before to do a podcast. Great kid, great guy. And he just has a couple of things to address, and I'm sure he will, and he'll come back looking much, much better. We saw what his potential could look like when he goes out there and fights a guy like Daniel Swain. But once he gets that mental right, I know this kid is going to be freaking great. All right, we're coming in close up on that 1 hour spot now. I'll get these last couple questions in, then I'm out. I think Natividad wins inside the distance. Yeah, Natividad round 3. That's a solid spot, I think. Shout out Fair Play, Z's MMA as always. Johns is motivated. I hope so. I love those Fortis guys. I'm sure Saif Sayud is yelling in his ear to get shit going. If it doesn't go to the decision, you think Bobby or Moises? I think Moises sub is more likely than a Bobby finish. Z, I'll give you the last question that I'm getting out of here. Locke, what are your thoughts on Hernandez getting a finish tonight? He's minus 400, which I think is accurate, but I got him inside the distance plus 162. So I did actually address this a little bit earlier in the show. Thanks for hopping on later, Z. But regardless, I did address it a little bit earlier. So I'm leaning more so Hernandez via decision. I think that we're going to see a little bit more a fight closer to the OAM fight where he's not overextending himself. He's going out there, getting the takedowns, having solid top pressure. Grits for as not as good of a fighter as he is durable, he is gritty, hence his nickname. But I do think we'll see Hernandez just playing this as safe as possible. Like he's coming off of arguably 3 losses. Like he could have absolutely lost that Ronaldo fight. So he needs to go out there, get a solid victory, get his confidence back, especially after a devastating finish via Drew Dober. I think he wants to play it as safe as possible, get in there, get the takedowns, ride out on top. If the finish presents itself, great, but I think he'd be confident, or I think he'd be content with just kind of riding out the top position. So I lean more so Hernandez via decision than inside the distance. But plus 162 for an inside the distance is not too bad. But yeah, definitely a big step up for shout out Joseph. What's going on, my brother? You are correct, my guy. You are correct. Alex is definitely Chris is coming off an ACL injury, so that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, I see more of a grinding decision for Hernandez. But for your sake and your bet, I hope that we see Hernandez get the finish. John's inside the distance or decision. I'm going with decision. And okay, Jonah, I'll give you the last question, then I'm getting the fuck out of here. Thoughts on this parlay? Hernandez inside the distance. Again, I just covered that with my guy Z. I think he gets it done via decision. Hardy inside the distance. I like that one. And Giannis inside the distance. I like that one as well, too. Moises TKO. Oh, yeah, I know my guy Joseph Emmons is heavy on Thiago Moises tonight. I'm surprised that he's going with the TKO. I like the value on the sub prop, which I think is plus 500 or plus 600. But yeah, that's the spot. All right. I appreciate you guys. I hope we do have a killer night. Shout out my guy Ben Eggs. Let's go for a killer night tonight. Obviously, heavy chalk, so not a ton of value in terms of like getting solid plus money, in my opinion. Hopefully, we all cash on Andre Fili. If you don't have a bet on Andre Fili at this point in time, you're not listening to anybody. Shout out to anybody that has Bryce Mitchell and are sticking to their camo shorts and their guns there. But yeah, shout out to everybody for dropping into the live stream. Good luck on your bets tonight. Fights start in 2 hours. We're getting there. There's only 2 hours left until the first fight kicks off. So don't forget about that. Don't get too baked and forget the fight start early today. 4 p.m. Eastern, first fights. And yeah, this is solid. Every Saturday, every Friday, as long as I'm not on vacation or some shit like that, every fight day, 1 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be doing this live stream just to talk to you guys and get out any final thoughts, answer any final questions and concerns you guys have. Appreciate you guys joining the live stream. Appreciate anybody watching the replay. Next time, try to hop on the live stream because that'll be great. But yeah, I'm going to shut the hell up now. We're 3 minutes over 1 hour. I don't want to go over 1 hour. I love you guys. I'll see you guys next week, and good luck on your bets this weekend.